Let's head to the commodity space now. We're discussing cement, a very important commodity, you might say, because everybody needs a home, among other things. The infrastructure, we talk about the roads and all of that, and of course, it's connected to the price of cement. Like many other things, we've seen an increase in the price of cement in recent times in Nigeria, risen by 23.81% from 10,500 for a 50 kg bag in January to 13,000 2026. And well, to help us discuss this, we have Ayobami Olatunji, an analyst from Financial Derivatives Company. Hi, Ayobami. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. One would have thought that being a cement producer that's here in Nigeria, we would not hear stories about increase in prices, at least most of the time. So what's driving this increase, in spite of the fact that we have a huge production of cement in the country?
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, it's true that the price of cement has increased by 23%, right, to 13,000 naira, up from 10,500 naira since year to date. And what's causing this is energy costs are inflated. Now, energy cost accounts for 60% of the cost of producing cement in Nigeria, and of course, due to the geopolitical conflicts that's happening, from the Strait of Hormuz, which accounts for 30% of all supply globally, that's affecting all prices, and that all price constraint is affecting businesses. Now, for cement businesses, they are facing their higher energy costs, and it's expected that they revise their prices because it affects the cost of running their plants. It affects the cost of distributing their products. I mean, cement is a product, and you got to make the product, right? So, looking at all these factors, that is what's causing the increase. Now, historically, we expect at this time of the year that the price of cement to fall because, with heavy rainfalls, we expect that, construction activity will fall. But, because of the increase in energy prices and diesel prices and gas prices are up by 20%. Diesel prices are up by 65% year to date, and this is what's driving, the price of cement. And if you think about what's keeping CEOs up at night, improving, the ROIC, right? They need to revise these prices. So yes, expected that the prices have increased, and that's what's causing the price surge.
Yeah. So can we say that this increase in prices have deterred demand?
Yes, so to be fair, demand for real estate housing has increased because if you look at urbanization, especially in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kano, Kaduna, and Abuja, right? Urbanization in Nigeria is 4.1% annually, which is the highest, right, and the fastest globally. And we can say that 60% of Nigerians live in the urban areas, and this is putting pressure on demand for houses, causing a housing crisis. And because of this, we're expecting the demand for cement to increase. However, demand for cement has increased. It's even expected to increase over time. But there are two factors constraining, effective that drive cement's demand, which is, urbanization, which I've spoken about, and, government spending. Our government is the largest spender in terms of infrastructure, roads, housing projects, and recently, 2026 spending for infrastructure has actually declined by 13%, but cement demand is still on the rise because housing demand has increased. Now, if you take a look at certain places, in the urban areas in Nigeria, we're seeing more buildings, and we expect to see more buildings. And if you look at houses that were not there 2 years ago, they're here now, and we're expecting to see more houses. To be fair, demand has increased, and that is but it's not the thing that's causing the increase in the price, because energy costs are up, right, by over 65%. Diesel prices are up by over 65%, and that is really what is driving, the price surge in cement prices.
All right, Ayobami Olatunji, thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.